State Treasurer Chip Flowers joins me on set now. Chip, great to have you here.
Always good to be here. I love WHYY, as you know, and so I am happy to be here.
You really know how to grease the wheel. I like it.
Gotta work it.
You know, the General Assembly is back in session, and one of the first things that they're going to be talking about is this bill that would essentially give the Cash Management Policy Board a lot more authority and ultimately strip power away from you, the state treasurer. Even the Attorney General issued an opinion in November siding with the Cash Management Policy Board, saying that the treasurer needs to invest based on their recommendations. What's your beef with this bill?
You know, I think the issue is a couple things. One is the fact that we don't have a problem, or I don't have a problem working with a board, but it has to be an honorable board. This board is not required to disclose their financial and business interests. There have times they've asked the treasurer to do some things that I find unethical by putting money in banks where they have a financial interest. They're only required to meet twice a year. They don't get daily information about the markets. Most of them, if not all of them, don't really have a lot of experience on fixed income portfolios. So this is a complete mess. And let's just cut to the chase that, this is a political vendetta. And I've told people about this, and I think most people can read between the lines, that this has nothing to do with the state's money. The state's money is fine. I've made over close to $40 million since I've been in office. This is more about, let's get Chip Flowers out of the way for the governor's chair. And that's just ridiculous. So I think let's do the right thing, the honorable thing, and that's why today I proposed some legislation to do it the right way. But we want to work with the board. I don't even have sole investment authority now. My staff, independent investment advisor, these are just basic financial principles that other states and other corporations do. So I think that the Attorney General was wrong in that opinion. He's just said that the treasurer has to follow what the board does. But I think the question becomes that we have to ask the Attorney General, if the board is asking the treasurer to do something corrupt, does the treasurer have to follow? And that was the question that was not answered in that opinion. So
you don't feel like you are above any sort of law involved in checks and balances?
No, in fact, the whole system is perfectly designed. The problem is who's checking the checker? And if the board is the checker of the Treasury, who's checking the board? And I think that's what this question is about, making sure that the General Assembly and the people know, well, wait a minute, if you're going to say that the board and the treasurer as the only elected official on this board, comprised of mainly the governor's appointees, is sitting here trying to do the right thing, how can the treasurer make sure that he's doing the right thing if the board, which has been serving since many of them since 1980, if they go awry, what's going to happen?
Well, why has no other treasurer had an issue with the board?
Well, I think it has never gotten to this level. But I think part of the issue is that if you're the treasurer, you have a couple options. You can come in to the office every day, turn on the computer, say, the money's still here. All right, I'm going home, and do some safe initiatives. Or you can actually try to do the work. We were so behind when I walked in the door. We didn't even have a television that could access the markets. I mean, this is how crazy it was. It was like every treasurer just kind of buys their time. So it's time for a change. And if I'm the poster child of opening up a new era in Delaware, fine, so be it, and I'll stand alone.
In a news conference this week, you offered your own solution, what you're calling the Honest Way Amendment. Tell me about the 4 tenets of that amendment.
Sure. One is the fact that for the unelected board, they should have term limits. Like I said, in 1980, I was 6 years old. I'm celebrating my 40th birthday. These individuals amassed so much power by staying so long. I mean, Tom Carper's not our longest serving official. It's the board. And they're unelected. Number 2 is political contributions. You can't give money to the governor, the treasurer, the speaker of the House, and the Senate pro tem, and expect the board to basically these elected officials to take the money and not try to spend legislation a certain way. So we have to prohibit them from doing political contributions directly or through PACs. The third point is open government, making sure the public has input and things of this nature to make sure that they can certainly comment on that. So, these are the main tenets. And of course, financial disclosure is the final point, making sure that, tell us, board, what's your interest? You can't have a horse in the race and expect me to sign off on that. Like I told a lot of people at the press conference earlier this week, was the fact that, the governor gets the contributions, the board members get their back end relationships with the banks get the money, and the taxpayers get screwed, and I have to sign for it. So if it goes wrong, I go to jail. Well, of course, I would support that if I was the board of the governor.
Let's say this bill, as it stands now, gets through the General Assembly, ends up on the governor's desk. What are your next steps? Are you going to see this?
Well, people always say you're going to fight it legally. Look, we're going to take a look at everything. We're going to try to work with everyone and hope it doesn't come to that point. But I always say that my signatures are not going to end up on corruption. And I said, if they think that what they're doing is legal, then I'm going to make it so that they can sign off on it. I'm going to talk to the banks and say, I'm going to add a signature block for the governor, for the Speaker of the House, and the Senate pro tem. So when they do the shady dealings, put your signature on it. But you're not going to get my signature on it. So you can kind of ram a bill down my throat all you want. But at the end of the day, we're going to do do it right. We're going to be honest and we're going to be fair. So you can talk about me in Alaska. You can make up any lie you want, lie all you can. But at the end of the day, we're going to do it the right way.
So this all started, your former deputy treasurer, Erica Benner, resigned after admitting she misused her state credit card. Okay, so you eventually become entangled in this mess that you're now saying is all politically motivated. You said it's a political vendetta. How is this a political vendetta?
It's a great question. She was using her card for 2 or 3 years, and we have really evidence, emails showing that people in the administration knew what she was doing. Hey, give us a check, not a big deal. Pay us back. Yeah, don't worry about it. Didn't tell me, and then, when she was dealing with some medical issues, she self-disclosed to me and said, what? This has been going on? All of a sudden, people had amnesia. Oh, we didn't know anything about it. Oh, but this email said you did. And you kept giving her other credit cards, and by the way, she's not the only other state employee that did it. We're not trying to condone what she did, but at the same time, it was used to impugn the integrity of the office, and I just think that was deplorable. And so I don't stand for it. I spent $300,000 of my own money, gave up another $100,000 of my first year's salary to hire 2 people at the Treasury. And to say that I would go do something wrong over $800 or $400 in Alaska and $400 in Seattle is just horrible.
So you were the target. Erica Benner was just a casualty.
Erica Benner was just a casualty along the way. And again, she did something horrible. But I think, as you know, in politics, it's rough. When people do something stupid, it can be used against the person that people are trying to get. So we're going to acknowledge that she made a mistake. She corrected the mistake. And I'm upset with her for the mistake. And she's no longer with the state. But at the same time, let's cut the crap.
So this is politically motivated. Who's controlling the strings?
Oh, well, listen.
Governor Markell?
Listen, I think that the better thing is to say it seems like all the arrows are pointing to one place, which is the administration. And I think they have to explain some behavior. But now, if they want to continue trying to throw allegations and lies about me, knock yourself out. I think the people are getting tired of it. I mean, at one point, every Sunday I was a feature. I started telling my friends, it's Chip Flowers, the unauthorized biography. So, keep throwing the lies. But at the end of the day, people
why would they make you an example? Why are they trying to make an example out of you?
Because this is perfect. We have an expression in the South. You want to make someone mad, you start messing with their money. And so you are talking about a $2 billion portfolio that the treasurer has walked in and said, hey, I know that you guys have been doing it this kind of shady way for the last 30 years. We're going to change things up. And so I can tell you that we've gotten some attention, and we're not going to back down.
The news conference, you said, quote, I am not going to allow the media to impugn my character, good record, and integrity, or use the prejudices associated with my race to claim there was a problem with our state's money under my watch. What prejudices are you speaking about? And do you feel like you are being, your race is being used against you?
Yeah, I think that there was a subtle, and I think, it's very clear. I think some of the media outlets, there was a subtle tone there saying, here we have an African-American treasurer involved in something that everyone knew that I took no money, never did anything personal, and managed the money with the most integrity that we could have had. The problem was that people, putting pictures of the African Americans saying Flowers has nothing to hide, or, it was just subtle. And I think most Delawareans would agree that we're beyond that. That's behavior's 1960s. So we need to move forward. And I'm not saying that this was racist, because that's a strong statement. That's people's intent. But I think that there was a better way to report it. So, like the average Delaware, let's get back to class. We've gotten, kind of lowbrow lately. So let's get back to class and start reporting things the right way. And I think that, most media outlets have done a great job. And I think even those that didn't do a great job have now corrected it. So I just think let's call a spade. And when people do it, I'm going to do it. But I assure you that I spent $400,000 to get in the office, and I can go back in the office and write myself a check for $2 billion. I assure you that I didn't take the $800.
We're running out of time, but want to get your comment on this. We hear Markell's former policy director is considering a run in September's primary against you. Are you going to run?
Of course I'm going to run, and I look forward to talking to running against him and the governor. I know the governor says he's not going to endorse, but your former policy director is running against me. So let's be real.
And one more question: has this controversy hurt your chances beyond the treasurer's office?
I hope not. Like I said, I had to give people time to settle down from all the anger so they could listen. And that's why it took me so long to come back and fight strongly at a later date. But no, I'm going to go up and down this state for the next 12 months, hopefully next 4 or 5 years, and show people that we are better than what is happening. It's time for a new era in Delaware.
All right, Delaware State Treasurer Chip Flowers, thank you so much for being
here
on First.